Hey, what's up there, YouTubers? It's me again, Brian, aka Gamer 555 Gamer 55551. Apologize for that one. And I'm back with a review/thought video. And this one is going to be the first time I'm going to do this one. It's a triple review. I'm going to be taking a look at season 1 of Max's Creature Commandos, Disney's Plus Skeleton Crew, and Crunchyroll's Hell Paradise. And if there's any part of the video which skip to, I'll have timestamps in the description of this video. And for parents out there, it's worth pointing out that Creature Commando is rated TV MA here in the USA. Skeleton Crew is rated TV PG-13 here in the USA. And Hell's Paradise is rated TV MA here in the USA. So we'll start off with the first part of this video, and it will be on Max's Creature Commando. Now, when James Gunn was announced as basically the new head of the DC Cinematic Universe, basically after Warner Brothers decided to end, the DCEU, which has been sort of controversial and been mixed. There's been some success and failure to that one. It was going to be very interesting to see what James Gunn was going to do after he sort of concluded with, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. And so it was pretty clear that he was going to aim for more of a approach similar to what Marvel's doing with the cinematic universe and everything like that. And we started to get some idea with it, though, when we started to hear some slates of what basically they were going to do with, the movie side of it, though. I think the first one was like Chapter 1, I think God and Monsters or something like that. And we started to get an idea with some announcements ranging from the Superman movie that he was going to do to basically the show appearing on Max called Creature Commandos. Now, I was very curious to see how this was going to play out and how this was going to sort of tie into this DC universe. And after watching all 7 episodes, I will say that I definitely came away enjoying Creature Commandos, but I'm still trying to figure out how this is going to tie into the DC universe and all. So I'm going to break it down into what I like and what I didn't like, mix, not 100% sure about. In terms of what I like, I will say that I do think the writing was done very well in Creature Commandos. It definitely gives off a little bit of a Guardians of the Galaxy vibe that, James Gunn did. And to some extent, it does give off a little bit of the Amazon Prime's Legend of Vox Machina, if you ever watch that show on Amazon Prime, though. So it is certainly nice indeed, especially when it takes place in the, I think, some sort of in a fictional country and everything like that. And there are some scenes that kind of stand out the most, including when Commander Flank is, well, let's just say, doing it with the princess of that country. One of their Creature Commandos was there sort of buying him time and everything like that. So there were some funny scenes indeed. But either way, I will say I definitely enjoyed the writing. Next one you want to say is basically one of my favorite characters is in Creature Commando is G.I. Robot. Maybe I am someone who likes to study World War II and everything like that, but I definitely really enjoyed that character. It seems to him is like if that person's a Nazi, he's going after and killing them and everything like that. I definitely like his personality and all, and he certainly was a very interesting character. Other ones did well, including, like the Bride of Frankenstein, including her grudge with, Frankenstein himself, that you also see in the show and all. But I have to say, G.I. Robot is probably my favorite character in Creatures Commando. And last but not least, I did enjoy the fact that we did get some backstory of some of the characters and everything. And I certainly was very pleased to see that. I mean, they were kind of a little bit short. It wasn't like basically one full episode of basically each of the characters and everything or like one full episode of what the history behind these characters are. But we did get some ideas here and there. So it was certainly nice to hear a little bit of some of the backstories of some of these characters and everything. As far as what I didn't like or mix or not 100% sure in regards to Creature Commandos, I will say I was a little disappointed that G.I. Robot was killed off, I would say a bit too early and everything like that. I wasn't really pleased with that in any way, though. I mean, obviously, anybody who has watched the show knows what happens to him, especially in episode 7 and all, but still, I wasn't pleased that they sort of killed him off that early. And finally, I'm a little confused of how this is going to connect with the new DC cinematic universe that James Gunn is building and everything like that. Because anybody who watched the first episode of the trailer, it seems to tie in to James Gunn's original, the Suicide Squad that he did, which was at the time somewhat part of the DCEU to a certain degree. So I was a little bit confused how this is all going to tie in, since supposedly Creature Commando is supposed to be the first chapter in this new DC cinematic universe that James Gunn is working on. So a little confused on this one. Maybe there's something I missed. Maybe we'll see more of it when, Superman comes out on July 11th. But right now, I'm a little bit confused of how this will connect into this new cinematic universe James Gunn is creating. Overall, I did enjoy Creatures Commando, though. I do think it is a good show. It is certainly a great way, I would say to some degree, a great way to start off this new DC cinematic universe. At its best, the writing is done great. G.I. Robot's my favorite character, though, and I definitely like some of the backstories to some of the characters. But at its worst, I was a little disappointed with them killing off G.I. Robot, and maybe this is me, but I'm still confused at how this will connect to the DC cinematic universe that James Gunn is working on. But in either case, I am very pleased with this. Very curious to see more of the cinematic universe that James Gunn is going to create and everything. And it's going to be interesting once a season 2 does happen, which we know that they are supposedly are working on a second season. So I'm very curious how that's going to play out. But in either case, I came away pleased with Creature Commando and all. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we'll get to part 2. And this one has to do with season 1 of Disney's Plus Skeleton Crew. So we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with part 2 of my triple review, TV show triple review to be exact. And for this part, we're going to be taking a look at, or my take on season 1 of Disney Plus Skeleton Crew. When it comes to the Star Wars content on Disney Plus, I would say there's been some hit and miss lately, though. While there has definitely been some ones that I think stood out the most, I definitely enjoyed The Mandalorian. That one was good. I thought Andor was also good as well. I'm looking forward to season 2 on that one. I did enjoy the Book of Boba Fett, and I thought Obi-Wan Kenobi was also a very good show indeed, though. But there have also been some that I've gotten, sort of mixed response to. Like, I thought Ashka was okay, if I'm saying her name correctly, though I don't think it was perfect, but it definitely was definitely a good Star Wars show. But the last one, the Allocate, the one that takes place over the New Republic, didn't really click with me as much. I'm not with the Old Republic, though. While I like the idea of it taking place in the Old Republic, this one just didn't do as well as I would have hoped for. So now we have a new one from Lucasfilm under the name Skeleton Crew, and this one obviously takes place, after the events of, Return of the Jedi and all. And I was very curious to see how this one played out. And after watching basically all 8 episodes of it, I would say this one is definitely one of the better Star Wars shows that they have on Disney Plus. But I don't think it reaches the same scale as the ones that I mentioned earlier: Mandalorian, Book of Boba Fett, Andor, Obi-Wan Kenobi, and all. So we'll break this one down into what I like and what I didn't like about it. As far as what I liked about Skeleton Crew, I definitely liked the fact that they were definitely aiming for sort of a Goonies vibe to it to a certain degree, where it's basically a couple of these kids, in this case, trying to find their way home and also exploring, seeing certain things. At the same time, kind of similar to the Goonies, finding out, trying to find this treasure from, One-Eyed Willie and so forth. So you see some similarities to it, though. I'm not saying it's going to overtake the Goonies. I think that movie is a classic no matter what, but there's definitely some vibe to it, and also to some degree some vibe to Pirates of the Caribbean as well. And that certainly is a nice thing indeed. So I definitely like how the show definitely gives off a Goonie vibes and somewhat of a Pirates of the Caribbean vibes to it though. I also definitely liked the character Jod Nodwood, if I'm saying this incorrectly, played by Jude Law. To some extent, he kind of gives off a bit of a villainous version of, Jack Sparrow from the Pirates of the Caribbean, in a way, though. I mean, you see some scenes of him, him trying to survive, even in situations where he was not the best in situation, and his obsession in terms of finding, basically Old Republic or New Republic gold or currencies, to be exact though. So his character was definitely the one that I thought was very interesting indeed, and I think Jude Law did a very good job with that at all. As far as what I didn't like or mix or not really 100% sure about, I will say the story in terms of Skeleton Crew I thought was good, but not necessarily great. I would say it's on the same scale as what I saw in terms of Star Wars Ashka, to be exact though. It's definitely better than the Allocate. I will say that's for sure. I definitely thought the story was certainly better, but I definitely didn't feel like it reached the scale as I mentioned earlier, stuff like The Mandalorian and everything like that. I did like the idea of them trying to find the kids trying to find their way home. I did enjoy, the robot, the one of the robots that had like a pirate voice or a pirate vibe to it as well. So it definitely had somewhat of a Steven Spielberg vibe to it in a certain degree. So there certainly was some great moments in the story, but I would say I feel it's not going to overtake, some of the better Star Wars shows we've seen on Disney Plus with some of the writing and everything. Overall, I still came away pleased with Skeleton Crew, even if it doesn't reach the same scale as The Mandalorian or some of the other shows like Book of Boba Fett, Andor, or Obi-Wan Kenobi. It still is definitely one of the better Star Wars shows we've seen premiere on Disney Plus and all. At its best, though, I definitely enjoyed the Goonie vibes and the Pirate Caribbean vibe to it, and Jude Law's character definitely was more like a villainous Jack Sparrow to a certain degree. Though I'm not saying he's 100% like Jack Sparrow, but there was definitely some inspiration to a certain extent of that character. But at the same time, I also felt the story was okay, not terrible, but not great in a certain way and everything like that. But in either case, I still came away pleased with the Skeleton Crew. It may not be on the same scale as Mandalorian or Book of Boba Fett or Andor or Obi-Wan Kenobi, but it was still an enjoyable show to watch indeed. It's one worth taking a look at. Even though this one is obviously targeted for a younger audience, I still came away pleased watching this show nevertheless. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we'll get to the third and final part of my triple review, and this one we'll be taking a look at Crunchyroll's Hell Paradise anime. So we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with our third and final part of my triple review of several TV shows, and this one I'm going to be taking a look at Crunchyroll's Hell Paradise. Now, ever since I got Crunchyroll through Amazon Prime, I added it as sort of an add-on to it and everything like that. I decided to take a look at some of the shows that are available that I've seen some videos here and there on YouTube, but never really got around to get a chance to watch it. Some of them range from stuff like The Duke of Death and His Maid to Failure Frame, and one of those is, of course, Hell's Paradise. And this is one I wanted to take a look because I saw some clips here and there and thought, I might want to check this one out. It definitely gave off sort of a little bit of an Onimusha vibe to a certain degree. Well, after watching all 13 episodes of it, I will say this is definitely one I definitely enjoyed the most, with one thing, and this has to be waiting for something as well. So I'll break this down into what I like and what I didn't like, mixed, not 100% sure. In terms of what I like, I will say I definitely like the animation and some of the art style with it though. I did like how some of the villains or some of the creatures were drawn and designed, and including some of the characters as well, though. I mean, so it was, I thought from the art style standpoint, it looked really nice, and I definitely enjoyed it, though. The next thing to do is the fight sequences, and some of them were pretty good, indeed, though. I like some of the fast-paced battles they had there, you know, like, and some of the sword fighting going on in terms of fighting some of these like demi or like oni type creatures and everything. It certainly was really neat and everything like that. So some of the fight sequences I felt were done pretty well in my view. And last but not least, the main character, I have a hard time saying this character's name, so it's Gabimaru, or it's one of the shinobi characters with, you know, like the white hair and everything like that. It's definitely one of my favorite characters. He does have some cliche if you've seen certain anime characters, though, but at the same time you do see him wanting to complete this quest to get home to his wife and everything, so it certainly was nice. I mean, some of the other characters also stand out very well, including I think a purple female ninja, and also some of the executioners, you know, who are assigned to some of these characters also did a good job. But I think this one is one of my favorite characters, indeed. So I thought he did Gabimaru. I thought he was definitely one of my favorite characters on the show. As far as what I don't like, mix, or not sure about, the only really thing I have is, unfortunately, I have to wait for season 2, and that really sucks, since it seems that season 2 won't be done until next year and everything, and that is sort of a bit of a disappointment, though, because I really liked the first season. It's pretty clear the first season ended on sort of like a cliffhanger to a certain degree, and have to wait that long for season 2 is sort of a disappointment, indeed. So, very unfortunate. We have to wait for season 2, but I mean, I'm sure there are some other animes on Crunchyroll I will be able to maybe take a look at, though. Overall, I did enjoy Hell's Paradise. I do think it is a fun and enjoyable show. It definitely had a bit of an Onimusha vibe to it to a certain degree, and I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. At its best, though, I did like the animation. I thought it was done great. I thought the fight sequences are done well, and the main character, which again I have a hard time saying this character's name, it's basically a shinobi, I think, with like the white hair. I thought he was my favorite character. I like how he was portrayed. And especially some of the scenes where he is having sort of memories of his wife and why he wants to get home to his wife to find this so-called elixir or something. But at its worst, though, is the fact that we have to wait for a second season, and that won't be until sometime next year, and that is a little bit unfortunate. But in either case, though, it is definitely a good show indeed, and it is one I would definitely recommend if you have Crunchyroll, or even have it through Amazon Prime like I do. I'll probably be taking a look at several other shows on Crunchyroll and see if there is any that kind of clicks with me. Right now, I'm trying to finish up The Duke of Death and His Maid. I might do a review on that one. But in either case, I definitely would recommend, especially if you're an anime fan, Hell's Paradise and all. Okay, this concludes my triple review on Season 1 of Creature Commando, Skeleton Crew, and Crunchyroll. And again, these are my opinion. What are yours? What are your thoughts about Creature Commando? Did you enjoy the show in any way? Are you curious to see how this ties into the cinematic universe, DC cinematic universe that James Gunn is working on? What are your thoughts about Skeleton Crew? Do you think it was a good Star Wars show on Disney Plus? Do you think it's one of the better Star Wars shows on Disney Plus that they have done? Or do you think Skeleton Crew is one of the worst Star Wars shows they have done on Disney Plus? And what are your thoughts about Hell Paradise anime? Do you have it on Crunchyroll, or have it as an extension on Crunchyroll on Amazon Prime? Did you enjoy the show, though? Do you like the animation or the fight sequences in that show in any way? Do you agree with what I said in this video? Do you disagree? Do you have a difference of opinion? As always, sound off in the comment section below. Let me know what you think. And if you do like this video, I hope you hit the like button. I would appreciate it. And I hope you do subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you do, make sure you hit the bell icon for notifications of any new videos I put up. Also, feel free to share this video if you want to, and feel free to donate to my channel if you like. You could do it through PayPal Me, Patreon, or Steam Labs. Links will be in the description of this video, assuming you're watching this on YouTube. And I will see you again next time when I do another video. Hopefully that'll be soon. Until then, from Southern California, I wish you all a good day then. Bye.